How do you get prices down?
Well, we think a lot of the things that you all are doing, focusing the committee on the sources.
Tell me how to get prices down. Some people want to talk about deflation. If you believe in deflation, as we see it in the world today, you need to change your meds. Tell me how we grow our way out of it. I don't see any other way to deal with inflation.
I think,
but to grow people's wages. You are a democratic socialist, aren't you?
I have never used that term to refer to myself.
No, I know. You have a Nazi tattoo?
Excuse me?
Do you have a Nazi tattoo?
I don't have any.
Mr. Chairman.
Welcome back to the channel. An explosive Senate hearing unfolds as lawmakers and economic experts go toe-to-toe over the single issue dominating everyday American life: skyrocketing inflation and the unrelenting cost of living. The atmosphere inside the committee room turns tense as explosive exchanges erupt over how to bring prices back down to earth. Sparks fly when questioning shifts from straightforward monetary policy to personal attacks, accusations of hidden political agendas, and controversial past policy decisions. With millions of families struggling to afford basic necessities like groceries, rent, and homeownership, this high-stakes hearing showcases a deep ideological divide on Capitol Hill. Watch as senators and expert witnesses clash over whether economic growth, regulatory cuts, or consumer protection agencies hold the real key to solving America's affordability crisis. Let's dive into the conversation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have to say, I'm a little disappointed. You all seem like fine people. And here's... And Mr. Carbone, you seem to be here to promote cryptocurrency. I love cryptocurrency, but I don't think that's the problem with our economy. Mr. Brown, you're here to promote realtors. I love realtors, but that's not going to solve our economic problems. Ms. Johnson's here to promote banks. I love banks. Dr. Morgan is here to bash Trump without telling us that she formerly was part of the Biden administration and worked for Mr. Chopra at the CFPB, and that your policies caused inflation to go to 9%. I think that those would have been relevant things to tell us. I guess you thought we were going to look up your background. Can we agree that the problem of affordability is the prices are too high? Duh. Does anybody disagree with that? And prices are too high because of inflation. Does anybody disagree with that? And inflation, despite Dr. Morgan's political beliefs, is not just a Trump problem, it was a Biden problem, was it not? Okay, so here's my question to you. Let's start with you, Ms. Johnson. How do you get prices down? That's what we're here for. How do you get prices down?
Well, we think a lot of the things that you all are doing, focusing the committee on the sources.
Tell me how to get prices down.
You increase supply and you make sure you cut the red tape.
You increase supply, okay. Some people want to talk about deflation. If you believe in deflation, as we see it in the world today, you need to change your meds. China's got deflation. How's it going for them? They've got about a 20% unemployment rate for their young people. The only way out of the inflation is to grow our way out of it. Am I wrong? You're going to have to increase our economic growth, not at the top line, but so people feel it. You're going to have to increase wages. And to do that, do you disagree with Mr. Brown? We're going to have to grow the pie. Right or wrong?
well, Senator, first of all, I'm here to support homeownership. In supporting homeownership.
No disrespect, but whatever. I'm sorry if I offended you. How do you think we can get out of these high prices? Otherwise, I mean, you can try to promote deflation, get ready for 10% unemployment, okay, then Dr. Morgan's really going to be bashing us. Okay. Tell me how we grow our way out of it. I don't see any other way to deal with inflation.
I think
but to grow people's wages.
I think that we increase inventory. We reduce zoning restrictions. We do a lot of the same things that are
and
how
are you going to increase inventory?
By
who holds the inventory? Businesses. You're going to have to stimulate the economy and help businesses to grow, aren't you?
Well, I come from California, which is ground zero for the lack of housing affordability, and it's a little more complicated than that.
I don't think you want to answer my question. Ms. Johnson, aren't we going to have to grow the economy and therefore increase wages in order to help people deal with the inflation? If I'm wrong, tell me. If there's a better way, tell me.
I think growth has been a key driver. Consumer spending continues to be strong. It's what's driven us through one of the most tumultuous times that we've been through, including bringing historic high inflation. We also do need to address prices. And I think the Fed's focused on it. Price stability has got to be key.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we basically we're free enterprise in America. We're basically, to grow the economy, you've got to stimulate businesses and try to direct labor to share in the growth. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Morgan, are you a democratic socialist like your colleagues?
No.
You're not? Do you? I noticed that y'all's new policy is to create a 4-day, 32-hour work week with no loss in pay. Where are we going to get the money to do that?
That's not my policy.
You don't think we ought to do that?
I'm sorry.
You think we ought to have a federal jobs guarantee?
I think a federal jobs guarantee is a good idea, yes.
Oh, you do? Okay. How do you think we're going to pay for that? Fair? You believe in the Easter Bunny, do you?
I think it's incredibly hard to pay for these things when we're giving tax cuts to the ultra-rich.
Yeah, okay. You think that all the growth in our economy just goes to the ultra-rich?
I think that we just gave massive tax cuts to the wealthiest in this country, yes.
Yeah. You are a democratic socialist, aren't you?
I have never used that term to refer to myself.
No, I know. You have a Nazi tattoo?
Excuse me?
Do you have a Nazi tattoo?
I don't have any.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. And we have Senator Cortez Masto.
Thank you. Let me put this back on track. So much for attending today. I can tell you how we grow the economy, and we're a perfect example. We got culinary members here in the audience. Culinary are part of our service industry, Nevada. Our industry is our tourism trade industry, which, by the way, posts nearly a $14 trillion in revenue in this country. But because of the bad policies of this administration, we are not growing that economy. In fact, there's a $14 billion trade deficit in 2025. Why? Because this administration has cut Medicaid, they have chaotic tariffs, the war of choice in Iran, the barriers put in place of so many that want to travel to the United States, the bad policies, the high costs that leaves less discretionary funds for families to travel. That is part of the problem. So we can eliminate some of the policies of this administration. That will help grow the economy. And I will tell you, I believe with the culinary, one job should be enough in this country. One job should be enough. And you should be able to afford put groceries on your table, to pay your energy costs, to put a roof over your head, and so much more, and afford health care in this country. That's what it's about. And so I appreciate all of you being here, because that's a conversation we have. And one of the pieces of the puzzle here is housing and a roof over your head. And I was so pleased to see in a bipartisan way that we passed the road to housing here, the 21st Century Road to Housing. I thank the chairman, I thank the ranking member, everybody here that worked on that in a bipartisan, bicameral way. But now we have to fund it. We have to remember there's programs in there that need to be funded. One of them is the home program that I was very pleased to be able to actually put the legislation in to modernize the home program. So, Mr. Brown, let me ask you this question. Why is the home program so important for building more affordable homes and increasing that supply? Actually, I don't know if you have your speaker on.
We do support the home program. Which section is that, Senator?
That is in the Road to 21st Century Housing. That's the home program. Yeah, that's the one that actually finances federal dollars that come into states for the home program to help finance supply If
Yeah.
you're not familiar with it, happy to have one of the other panelists.
No, I think it's very important. I think that overall, this bill is extremely important to increasing affordability in the housing market because you're cutting red tape, you are cutting regulatory burdens, and you're increasing inventory. And I think that's the way that we're going to be able to tackle the affordability crisis. And I think that this bill goes a long way. It's a great start. I mean, more work can be done, but there's some really good things in this bill that are really going to help the housing affordability crisis in America.
And that's the key, right? It's one thing to pass it. Now we have to authorize the appropriations for these programs.
Yes.
The home program is a grant program through HUD that brings those essential dollars, federal dollars, into our communities to build housing. And I think
Affordable housing, yes.
Affordable
Yes.
housing. It's important that
extremely
we
important.
authorize it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me talk to Dr. Morgan. I have been concerned with what I'm happening with the CFPB. As the former Attorney General of Nevada, I work closely with CFPB to protect consumers. And now this administration has systematically eliminated the CFPB. And I am concerned now with what that means for consumers in general and Americans. Nearly 22 million families pay more than half their income to keep a roof over their head, yet the President's proposal to cut funding for affordable housing programs like home and gut the CFPB Bureau doesn't help families who have seen rents rise 50% since 2020. How does the President's decision to cut and gut the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau enable landlords to still charge junk fees to renters? Is that still happening in this country?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So, the gutting of the CFPB has taken the cops off the beat. So there's really no one kind of minding the store for consumers and making sure that financial institutions are following the law. It gives a green light to predatory companies to break the law as they see fit. And, when it comes to renters in particular, the CFPB had really been watching this kind of like proliferation of products that were being put into the market in order to bridge the gap between rent and what people could actually afford. Rental credit cards, different kinds of, innovative payment processing platforms, security deposit replacement products that turned out to be a loan or kind of another kind of shady product. And so not having the CFPB in place to actually crack down on those practices is really important. The other role that the CFPB plays is on the research and market side. They were the organization that was keeping an eye on what was happening with family finances, keeping an eye on household financial stability, raising the alarm when household financial stability became a larger problem that threatens the economy overall. And they're not doing that either. So there are a lot of threats here for renters and homeowners alike.
Thank you. I know my time is up. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. And on behalf of the chairman,
The discussion begins with a direct confrontation regarding the root cause of high prices and the viability of potential solutions. Senator Kennedy presses the panel on how the nation can realistically bring prices down, quickly dismissing the idea of deflation. Citing international examples like China's current economic struggles and high youth unemployment, the argument is made that intentional deflation could trigger severe economic distress and massive job losses. Instead, the focus shifts toward economic growth and wage increases as the only practical path forward. Panelists discuss the necessity of increasing supply and cutting red tape to allow businesses to grow, while debated points highlight the challenge of balancing top-line economic growth with meaningful wage improvements for everyday workers. The temperature in the room rises dramatically as Senator Kennedy turns his focus toward the backgrounds and political affiliations of the witnesses. Accusing panel members of representing specific interest groups ranging from cryptocurrency and real estate to banking, he challenges their motives. The debate grows particularly intense during questioning directed at Dr. Morgan regarding her former role in the Biden administration and policies at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Personal jabs and controversial line of questioning disrupt the policy debate, highlighting the deep political divides surrounding government spending, proposed 32-hour workweeks, federal job guarantees, and tax policy. The narrative shifts as lawmakers explore contrasting strategies for long-term economic stability and worker relief. One perspective argues that stimulating private enterprise, increasing housing inventory, and reducing zoning restrictions are essential to boosting supply and driving economic expansion. Conversely, Senator Cortez Masto reframes the issue around the struggles of working-class families, emphasizing that one job should be enough to afford food, housing, and health care. She points to administrative policies, tariffs, and trade deficits as core drivers of economic strain, advocating for direct support for service industry workers and localized economic drivers like tourism. If you are enjoying this deep dive into congressional debates, take a moment to click the subscribe button to stay updated on key economic news. Housing affordability takes center stage as panel members address historic rent increases and home ownership barriers. The discussion highlights the bipartisan passage of the 21st Century Road to Housing Act, designed to streamline regulations, reduce administrative delays, and spur new home construction. However, lawmakers and experts stress that legislative passage is only the first step. Proper federal funding and authorization for HUD's home program are identified as critical factors in delivering federal dollars directly to local communities to construct affordable housing units and expand housing inventory nationwide. The final portion of the hearing centers on consumer protection and the impact of recent cuts to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Senator Cortez Masto and Dr. Morgan detail concerns over the reduction of regulatory oversight, arguing that taking cops off the beat exposes consumers to predatory financial practices. The panel discusses how landlords and financial platforms have increasingly introduced complex fees, rental credit products, and security deposit alternatives that add financial burdens onto struggling renters. Without robust CFPB research and enforcement, experts warn that low and middle-income families remain highly vulnerable to unchecked market abuses. The hearing concludes leaving clear contrast between two distinct visions for fixing the economy. On one side, lawmakers emphasize deregulation, business stimulation, and supply-side growth to outpace inflation. On the other side, advocates push for targeted federal housing investments, strong consumer protection safeguards, and relief for working families. As inflation and housing costs continue to shape national debate, the policy choices discussed in this committee room will have lasting implications for everyday consumers across the nation. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment with your thoughts on how to fix inflation, and click the subscribe button for more in-depth political and economic analysis.